Hello there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. Now, here at Camille's Harem, many of us are fans of Monty Oum's and Rooster Teeth's RWBY. This was honestly a show that brought many of us together when we were first getting started as a writing group. We loved discussing the wonderful characters and their different arcs. We loved talking about the world building, and we've speculated quite a bit on what will happen within the show, and honestly, we just really enjoy talking about it. And because of that, we are going to do something different than what we've done before, and this is perform a series of reviews to keep a pace with the show as Volume 7 unfolds. As I've stated with other reviews that I've done, I prefer to look at the whole picture before passing judgment on a show. And that was my reasoning to my approach to Volume 6. However, this upcoming season will be very different. Furthermore, we want to express our excitement and our on-the-ground thinking as the show progresses. Still, with that being said, we're not going to cover Volume 7 episode by episode. Now, that sounds strange considering what I've just said, but our reasoning is this. We are a YouTube channel about writing. We love diving into stories to pull out examples, give analysis, and provide lessons. RWBY doesn't easily lend itself to that approach because each chapter or episode is not presented within the typical framework of a chapter or episode at all. The general rule of thumb is that every chapter or episode within a story should be a self-contained, smaller story that progresses the greater plot. RWBY has almost never done this in any of its seasons. Instead, the show opts to present chapter beats for each episode, meaning that each episode contains a crucial element to the smaller story that is being told within the larger story. And if that sounds confusing, that's because it is, and it's a core reason why fan reactions are a roller coaster throughout every season. Therefore, when it comes to Volume 7's upcoming 13 episodes, we are going to look at blocks of episodes rather than individual ones. We want to observe and provide commentary on the real stories being told within the full season and not just the chapter beats. So, that being said, really, I'm very excited to tackle this project with the rest of the harem, and my deepest hope, besides getting to watch a brilliant 7th season for RWBY, is that we can communicate our excitement and our love for the show, as well as pull out some really great writing advice. But I don't want this video to just be an announcement. I also want to communicate some of the theories and expectations I have for the 7th season. First of all, I want to return to a theory that I delivered a while back about Pyrrha's possible return. If you want to see that theory in its entirety, please follow the link down in the description. But the TLDR is that there is a lot of significant evidence that Pyrrha could return in the show, but I highly doubt that it will be Pyrrha as we knew her by the end of Volume 3. Instead, her consciousness could be awakened within Cinder. This would be a brilliant move to push character development not only for Jean, but Nora and Ren as well. It could open up a ton of possibilities with magic and have big implications for Oscar's situation with Ozpin, and it would set up a very difficult situation for Jean as well as give Cinder more depth as she grapples with a latent Pyrrha. Now, while I fully believe in my own theory, I will be honest on this point. If my theory sees no further development this season, if there are no winks or nods to Pyrrha's possible return during this 7th season, then to be all honest, I would not want her to return in any future period of time. Something as big and important as Pyrrha coming back needs to have a sustained build-up, or it will be nothing more than a cruel tug on the fan base's heartstrings. And that is a narrative tactic that I have a little patience for. For another theory, our good friend Zaza over at her channel Zap has been talking a lot about Arthur Watts stepping in as a kind of Dr. Frankenstein character in this upcoming season. This is a theory I see catching on here and there, and I highly encourage you all to go and check out her videos that she has recently uploaded. They are fantastic artwork and also some fantastic dives into the story of RWBY. Links for them will also be in the description. Now, this is a theory that I particularly enjoy because of its implications. Atlas will be a very important city, and I think we will easily be here for 2, if not 3 seasons. And with all of the city's technology and access to dust and people, Watts could create any number of exotic nightmares. We've already seen that he can do some wonders with Tyrion's tail. Imagine what he could do with all of the Atlantean resources at his disposal. Now, you might be asking yourself, after I've just said that, why do I expect that we will spend numerous seasons in Atlas, especially with how we have been jumping around from place to place so much in the last couple of seasons? Well, my response is this. RWBY and her friends have seen much of the world and the other kingdoms to this point, but Atlas has been a place that's been talked about since the very beginning. It represents both the best and the worst in humanity. There is no way that you can cover everything about it and its a large cast of characters within the city just all in one season. And if you were to try that, it would be totally inadequate. Watts would be a perfect villain, therefore, within the city to play out as a villainous foil to Cinder and plotting the city's eventual downfall. And when I say downfall, I mean downfall. I mean, come on! You know that floating island is going to get brought down eventually. The hubris of humanity being brought low. This is a huge point that Salem makes at the very beginning of RWBY. I feel that Season 7 will largely be a setup for grander and scarier things to come. RWBY and her allies have to build up goodwill and trust in the city of Atlas by working with Ironwood. The trailer makes it appear that part of this goodwill operation will be an infiltration/recovery mission to a military base now overrun with Grimm, and this is something that will happen post-time skip if we are to believe the outfits that we are seeing within these scenes. For everyone expecting Weiss to figure things out with her family or to just simply burn the manor down this season, don't get your hopes up. There's too much happening right now to deliver that cathartic moment in a way that would please everyone. RWBY is holding back on this for next season. I can guarantee you that. I expect that this season will revolve mostly around Cinder's infiltration of the city and how that throws Watts' plans into chaos, which thus in turn put Team RWBY on their toes. It might feel disjointed, but that is because the season is once again a massive setup for greater payoff in the upcoming seasons. That is going to sound annoying to many of you because the last 3 seasons already feel like they were just major setup. And while I can agree with you to a certain point, we do have to remember that, especially in the last season, we've already received a ton of information, especially through Jin. And we have seen the groups all come back together. Both Team RWBY and what is left of Team Juniper have become more capable hunters in the real world, and they have re-evaluated and coalesced their relationships with each other. It's not the most optimal storytelling that we have going on here, and it's not where we would exactly like to be with the show, but Season 6 began wrapping up a lot of the loose ends, and Season 7 looks to introduce us to the next great epic within the show. And to be all honest, that's something that I can get on board with if it is done well. And we cannot forget the final question for Jin, which I believe will remain as a kind of Chekhov's gun, because that final question is too crucial to be used right now, either by the good guys or by the bad guys. And I like it this way. If done well, the final question will prove to be another gut punch and game changer, like when we learned about Ozpin and Salem's past. And that itself is a relationship that I expect to be put on the back burner for a little bit longer. Don't expect us to get much more of it in Season 7, except for maybe some winks or nods. So those are my basic thoughts and theories going into Season 7. Please make sure that you are subscribed to our channel and that you ring the bell icon so that you can be informed for when we do our analyses and writers' takes on these episode blocks as we go along with Volume 7. And feel free to share your own expectations and theories with us. We'd love to hear them because we honestly love seeing how other fans interact with a show that is near and dear to us. And please check out Zaza's videos about the upcoming season, and do not forget to check out our theory about how Pyrrha might return. It's a pretty good one if I do say so myself. And if you want more writing insight and advice, please go check out our podcast, Camille's Harem, found on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. And we also have writing exercises for you to check out at our Pinterest page and discussions over at our subreddit. And please help us in our quest to find terrible fan fictions to do epic readings of by sending us links to those terrible gems that you've discovered. And until November 2nd, y'all, tschüss.